Yo peeps, Mischief here. So today I'm just going to be covering the Paranormal UK. Okay, so I've been covering a lot of different cases, some UK ones, and I want to start getting into the paranormal side as well and tying in these little bits that I've been doing. So here we go. You know what's coming. Cue the title sequence. Yeah. Okay. Right. Hello, people. So I've got the appropriate t-shirt on with the F you deaf there. I just want to say once again, thank you very much for subscribing. Thanks for checking out our channel. If you haven't seen the previous videos, go check them out. I've done lots of UK sightings so far and got loads more to come. There's millions and millions more evidence and thousands of more cases and stuff to actually cover from the UK. And it just shows how important these sightings are now that things are coming forward, especially in Congress. I mean, nothing's coming forward in the UK, unfortunately. But I find that a lot of people are now more open to talk about UFOs. Now, in the UK, if you're from here, you'll know that talking about ghosts and stuff, people have done that for years. People have talked about ghost sightings and seen things and weird stuff and that for years. But if you talk about UFOs, normally you get shut down immediately and looked at as though you're a crazy person, but ghosts were fine. And for a while, I've said as well that I think there's a connection somewhere between the paranormal and UFOs and psychedelics. You know, psychedelics allow you to see that world somehow, and a lot of the UFOs possibly are from this other realm or other dimension or something along those lines. I haven't got the answers by any means, and I'm sure it's not the the answer to everything isn't 42, unfortunately. But somewhere along those lines. So this is why I'm doing this episode, sort of a random episode, just to show links between paranormal and UFOs and how, just how bloody paranormal the UK is, with UFO sightings, with ghost sightings, with weird different sightings. I mean, we've got out on the moors and places in Derbyshire, sightings of big cats. We've had those for years. You know, we don't have Bigfoots in the UK, but we have big cat sightings, like panther type, jaguar type creatures out there roaming around on the moors. And if you don't know what the moors are, they're beautiful. The vast open spaces, Derbyshire Dales as well, absolutely beautiful. Some images here for you of them. Rolling countryside. Obviously, Yorkshire is a God's own county, created, by the whatever creator you believe in. Personally, I believe it was created by a race of beings for another purpose, but you'll see that in my books as they come out. Yeah, so, and obviously across the UK as well, we have many stone circles and monuments and Neolithic sites and places. I'm going to put a few up here and a few through the episode just so you can see as I'm talking different beautiful images of the stone monuments that we have. We have loads in Derbyshire, loads up north, lots down in Wales, obviously lots out in Wiltshire and places like that. Avebury, Stonehenge, obviously the famous one. Avebury's a bigger site, a better site actually, if you ask me, if you want to go there. I do plan a trip down there. Obviously, as you've seen, if you watched my little Portsmouth trip video when I had to drive down for work, I was going to nip over to Avebury or to Stonehenge. Didn't get the time, unfortunately, on my way back up. But it is something I'm planning on doing. And while I'm on the subject, actually, if you have any sightings or anything, crop circle stuff, which I'm going to be talking about in this episode as well, UFO sightings, ghost sightings, anything like that, please comment them below. So I had a comment from one of my followers, Antoine Owens. I think, I'm not sure if I know you or not, because on YouTube it's very hard to tell who people are anyway, but thank you very much for your comment on there. And you brought up a sighting that you had. So Ant mentioned in the comment that he had a sighting of a UFO, and it was in the late 90s. He saw a disc-shaped object with his mum, about 500 feet or so, no sound or propulsion that he could see, in broad daylight. And he recently heard a podcast, he said, that someone else in the same city had sort of seen the same thing. So it made him, obviously think, whoa, I've not gone crazy. So thank you, Ant, for your comment on there. So if I do read comments, I do, even nasty ones, whatever. I do read things that you put. So if you had a site, if you had something, please leave me a comment, because I'm going to be hopefully compiling a book, separate to my fantasy stuff, of UK sightings of UFOs, weird creatures, and ghosts. So I've got one of my best mates. He's hopefully coming on. He's actually not too worried about coming on. I'm just trying to get some time to speak with him. We used to live together. We lived in a haunted house, so we've got many stories from there that we can share with you. Also, he's seen a UFO as well. His sighting was when he was younger, and he remembers seeing some kind of egg-shaped object with strange lights on it. I'll let him tell you exactly about it all. Right, there we go. Okay, so yeah, I was in the shop the other day, and I was being served by one of the lasses there, and she watches the channel, and I'll give you a shout out when you tell me it's okay to, if I see you in the shop again. And a guy behind me was sort of listening to our conversation about UFOs. We were talking about the Penrich incident, the Penrich incident that I covered the other day, and just various other things. And obviously she was saying that, she's not really seen anything, but obviously, she's experienced ghosts or whatever, that side of it. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. So we'll have a chat about that. And one of the guys behind me was saying that he'd been to Aveby and been down there and seen loads of UFO sort of things flying over, unexplained lights, couldn't really tell what was going on. And had some weird experience down there where there was loads of, I'm guessing, pagans, or he described them as druid type people down there doing something. So if you've got any bits and pieces, please send them to me, and I will look into them. And I'm going to give these people an opportunity to come on, because I want everyday people. Like I said for a long time, I'm just a guy in a shed filming for you, telling you about my experiences, putting together other little bits from cases that I find interesting. Obviously, like the one that I covered the other day, which was the Pascagoula UFO incident, which is a fascinating case. I'm going to be doing the Rendlesham Forest case as well, obviously, because that's a major UFO event in the UK. I don't find, I just can't get over the fact that there's that much stuff in the UK, and it's just, no one talks about it. No one's ever done anything about it, it seems. You've got people like Nick Pope that have come forward to say, obviously, the MOD were looking into this and have been looking into it. And you've got incidents like Penrith where you can obviously tell that the MOD knew what was going on, and, knew something was coming into our world at that time. And obviously with that one, like I mentioned, that one's really weird, because it seems like it came into our world, not from space, but from another dimension or somewhere. So this little episode, like I say, is just sort of to start this off again, and just give this now a basis of where I'm going, because I am trying to tie all this in. I have got some episodes that I'm going to be doing, obviously, again, on the ancient civilization stuff, because I find that really fascinating, and the Younger Dryas impact hypothesis, and see where that's going at the moment, and places like Göbekli Tepe. So I have got those bits and pieces that I'm going to be covering as well. And hopefully in the next couple of months, I should be doing a bit of ghost investigations, some live stuff, in some of the places that I used to work in Derby, and some of those haunted sites in there, because Derby and Derbyshire is sort of one of the most haunted hotspots in the UK, if you don't know. And we've got like the oldest jails still there. It's not used anymore. I've slept in them, fell asleep in them after a night of drinking. And yeah, fascinating place. Table tipping has been seen there. I've seen a table lift off the floor in the Derby Gaol. Fascinating place. Then you've got Vernon Gate, where the towers still stand, which is the oldest women's prison, like one of the oldest prisons ever. Still there. You've got all the tunnels underneath from smugglers and King James and fascinating events that went on in Derby. So it's no wonder that it's so haunted. And the areas out there and going off, I mean, you know, Chatsworth House and all these places, and Matlock. You've got Roman elements. So we've got a lot of history here. We've got a lot of hauntings. The only problem with UK hauntings is when you get people investigated. So I'm hoping that I don't do the same sort of mistakes that I hate from these ghost investigators. And especially, I mean, I'm sure as you all did, if you remember in the early 2000s, we had, what was it, ghost hunters. And it was, yeah, with Yvette Fielding and what was his name? Carl Randall, is it? Carl Randall? Yeah, and they had also Richard Felix and his son, and I know them, met them a few times. Obviously, he used to own the Derby Gals. I'm not sure if he still owns it now. Used to run tours and stuff from there. But that was a bit wacky. I mean, they used to have spiritualists on. If you remember Derek, I know this is going off on a tangent now, but if you remember Derek Acora, oh my God, what's that, Sam? What's that, Sam? I'm sent. He's sensing a woman. He's sensing a woman. Aye, Sam. Aye, Sam. Yes, Sam. Sam. Sam's telling me. Sam's telling me a load of bullshit right now. Because I've looked this up on Wikipedia. You know what I mean? It was like some of the stuff he used to come out with. I mean, there was a few elements of it which you were like, bloody hell, is that real? Is that not? I mean, it's like all ghost investigation stuff, I suppose. You know, Ghost Adventures. Sometimes I watch that and I'm just like, I could slap you, Zach, because you're just annoying. You know, or they go over the top with stuff. And you know, I've personally seen ghosts or had weird experiences and encounters. And yeah, you do freak out. And obviously, when you're going after stuff like that, the thing that gets me is when they go after stuff, right? And they go, do something for us, and you hear, and they go, oh my God, fucking hell, ah! You know, or something goes, like, not 3 times, and then something goes, and you, fucking Jesus, oh my God. It's like, right, okay, if you've asked for a response, right, and you get a response, don't shit yourself, because that's the idea, right? And running away from stuff. And, you know, I'm sure you, like myself, get frustrated with paranormal evidence and even UFO evidence and stuff, because it's always a blurred picture. You know, you'll get, you know, some weird snapshots of people's close-up faces, you know. And it's like, look, there was a ghost there. And you're like, where? And the blurred this bit here, and you're like, oh yeah, I suppose so. Yeah. So I do agree with you. You know, this is why the conspiracy cupboard is here, like I've said. You know, because I've got to give a fair balance to stuff. But there are weird stuff going on. You know, there is weird things that you can see. There are entities out there, and this is obviously one of the reasons why I cover the channel, to sort through a lot of this stuff and try and give you as plain a, you know, feed about it as I can, which is why I like to try and get everyday people's opinions and experiences. So yeah, so like I said, I just mentioned 3 people that I've met randomly, out and about, and obviously one of them's one of my mates. He's got experiences there. Now, like I said, I do know people that sort of work or have worked in the MOD. I won't bring their names forward because they're under secret acts and stuff. But if they ever want to talk to me about different aspects of stuff, then I will have them on, or share little bits. And obviously, I do know some people that work in the RAF or Navy, and they've had weird things and sightings. But they don't really come forward because you don't do that in the UK military because they're not really allowed to, it seems. Yeah, I mean, I've got a couple of guys that know, they've got like military plane apps, because it's part of their job, and they can tell you when you're looking up overhead if that's a standard plane, a military plane, something undesignated, but it's there. You do get those, secret flight paths or whatever, but they have to just give a thing, but they don't have to state what they are. They come up on this stuff, and then you get other things that is like, no, that ain't anything of ours. And this is people that work inside this, and they know, from the UK side, they know. And like I said, all of us have been brought up on ghost stories or strange stories, strange experiences. So why are UFOs any different? So if, like I said, if you've got anything you want to put on the comments, please put it down, your experiences, and I will relay them. So obviously I've done an episode a while back called A Spooky Bit of Mischief, where I told you about a couple of incidents that I had in a couple of pubs that I worked in. One of them where I basically got chased or pushed into a doorway by some entity that I couldn't see about 3 o'clock in the morning, up in the walkway above my little flat that I had in the pub there. And that was a terrifying experience, and I got the hell out of there. And there I saw other apparitions as well. We were sat on the bar one night, and we all saw a guy walked down towards where the pool table and stuff is. Me and my mate shouted at him. We jumped off the bar, ran over. No one was there. At least 3 of us saw this guy walk in down towards the pool table, round this corner where you couldn't see anything, and you couldn't get out that way. And then about 10-15 minutes later, after we'd all been searching, we sat back down, we all saw a ball of light, a big orb, come round the corner, go up into this old hatchway above, into a wall, you know what I mean? And you just think, we all went. I think back to one of my mates' houses, just got out of the pub like, nope, thank you, tonight. And like I say, people do run away, but we would ask you for the experience. We were all off his heads, like, whoa. But when all of you see it, it's not a, because I do love when people go, that's a hallucination, or you've all had it, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, I do. There's probably a thing called mass hysteria, there is probably things where you can encourage people to believe stuff, but to actually see something where you all go like that, the fuck is that? You're all over there. Not just going, oh, do you see this guy? And then they go, oh yeah, the guy over there. And you're like, yeah, with the red hair. And, oh yeah. Like, you haven't actually seen it, that kind of thing. But when you all go, what the, what? You seen that as well? That kind of stuff is crazy. I've captured pictures before. Unfortunately, I can't find it anywhere. So if anyone that worked Coyote, Wild in Derby has the photo anywhere that we took of all of us, and you can see the postmaster guy behind us on the staircase, and then stood behind us all, sort of in the middle. And he was weird. He looked kind of orange, but you could see everything about him. You could see his brim of his hat. You could see his beard, his old traditional clothes. It was so strange. But he was cool. I mean, there was a couple of entities in there that were playful, let's say the least. Like the experience that I told you about where all my weights got moved above me in the office at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and my manager wouldn't come up with me to help check it. I was like, okay, that was just going to leave that, dude. I mean, that was up on the third floor. I've got to put this into context for you as well. It wasn't just the fact that it was possibly a ghost moving weights around and stuff, or somebody breaking in, there was no way up there to get there without a key for this other stairwell. There was like 2-3 floorboards or something to get through with for the first bit because it had all fallen through, and then the rest of the areas were like had patches of floor missing, and the only bit that was solid floor was when you actually got over this beam of wood and this other plank to get to this area near an old fire escape. You went into this old bit which was an office which had a load of stuff ripped out down the bottom, which made a huge area, which is where all our gym stuff was, and that was the only like solid bit. So you had to sort of traverse yourself in there anyway. So if you imagine you're hearing noises up there clanking, you can see the doors locked, but you know that if someone was up there, and it's pitch black by the way up there, you know, you've got the lights from the street lights coming through, but in the center there's just nothing. It's pitch black, like behind me right now, you know, and you can't see a thing. So you're falling through that floor at least 15 feet at least down to the dance floor below. If you're unlucky enough to miss the dance floor, you'll go down the set of stairwell in the middle there and just end up right down the bottom. So, you know, I wasn't just going to rush up there and try and find where the frigging light switch was or something. So yeah, weird events, which obviously made me do the channel, you know, and try and sort out wheat from the chaff, if you will. So yeah, so I've got some pictures here then for you of Avebury and of Derby as well, just some extra little photos I'm going to throw in of Derbyshire and, you know, some of the haunted hotspots. If you live up here and you've got any stories from like the Bell Hotel or anything like that, or, you know, Old County Wild, places like this, Varsity, the Friary, all these places, please leave me a comment. And if you've had any sightings up here as well, UFO sightings, as long as we go sightings, UFO sightings out, you know, Matlock Way, the place I was going to investigate, which I can't remember the name of now, which is out that way, which I've not had a chance to get over to still. But I do a lot of sky watching from where I am, which is not far from around there. So like the other day, we had a meteor shower in the UK. I don't know if anyone watched it. It was absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. Fiery streaks going across, bright white. A couple, well, one that I saw was orange, flame orange, streaking in. Absolutely fantastic. So just spend a bit of time outside. And on a side note, I've been walking barefoot a lot. I think I was once a hippie in a former life, and so yeah, so I've been doing a lot of barefoot walking. And it makes you feel so much bloody better. Just that connection with the ground, with the earth itself, you know, and training your feet up to basically walk around. So if you do step on Lego, you know, you're not going to completely kill yourself. So I do recommend it. Go have a walk around, you know, just check the park area where you're walking. If you do walk barefoot outside, which I tend to do as well, which everyone gives you some crazy looks for, which I find hilarious, because technically, you know, we're not meant to wear shoes. I've always said we weren't born with clothes on, were we? So yeah, so this was just a random little episode for you, just to start off this this little series that I'm going to be doing, obviously the Paranormal UK. And I've got obviously a lot of information to bring forward. So we've got the Rendlesham Forest cases, we've got I'm going to be doing some follow-up stuff on the Penrich UFO case as well, because I want to have a drive out there at some point and go and investigate myself. You know, Operation Main Brace, I'm going to be covering things like that. Obviously the Rendlesham Forest case, yeah, loads of different things like that. and then we've got obviously UFO, and then we've got ghost sightings, which I'll be covering as well. Many things to go over. In fact, too many to account for, I suppose. Yeah, so going to a couple more cases then that people bring to me. One of my brothers, he's never seen anything really in the sky before that he can't account for. But he's told me that while he was at home looking out the window, he saw something really weird over Sheffield. Now, there have been accounts of things over Sheffield. So I'm going to see if he'll come on to describe exactly what it was that he saw. And yeah, just, you know, I find it absolutely fascinating. I'll probably say fascinating far too much. The amount of sightings and the amount of ghost sightings, the amount of UFO sightings of things that we have in the UK, and how open people are now to really talk about it. So yeah, as a final thing, once again, for me rabbiting, please leave me a comment if you've seen anything at all weird. I'm not just talking about, you know, some local nut job in the park, which I'm sure we've all got one. Yeah, there's a good weird guy called Steve. I think he might be part alien. He's always off his face on something. It's always Steve or Dave, unfortunately. So yeah, so thanks for listening to me rabbit on. So my next episode I'm going to do on Rendlesham Forest for you. Cover that, and then I'm going to be doing some ghost videos. Not sort of reaction videos or anything like that. Just covering some of these haunted places in Derbyshire, and some of the places that I really want to go and investigate as well. And some of the other places that I want to go to do some UFO hunting across the UK. I will just say I have been in contact with Philip Mantle, who was mentioned in the last video, who was on with Howard Hughes. And I'm trying to get him to come on and do an interview with me to talk about that case over there, the Pascagoula UFO incident, and this new lady that's come forward. So hopefully I can wrangle him in somehow, either if it's by telephone or just by video somehow, to get his thoughts and obviously any new evidence on this this lady that's come forward on that case. So guys, have a wonderful evening, and don't watch anything too scary, unless you like that kind of thing. So until next time, I shall see you laters. She was on about the channel, and I was like, oh my god, you watch the channel. Yeah.